Hello everybody, this is our newest video. This is our 1990 BMW B10 Biturbo. This car comes to us from a very enthusiastic collector that has a large array of BMW cars, everything from Alpinas in the 70s all the way up to something like this from the 90s. The home in which this car comes from is a gentleman that has a high level of attention to detail. He bought this car back in 2016 on Bring a Trailer, which you'll probably research or have researched and found. And since then, since bringing it to Canada, where he's had it insured and driven, the gentleman has gone completely through it from end to end with service documents, making sure that the car was absolutely perfect and that everything ran perfectly. He drove it fairly regularly, enjoyed it thoroughly, and it certainly held a special place in his heart over the course of his ownership. This is probably my second time driving the car, and I can already tell you that everything feels new. It's often that you see cars like this for sale. A lot of them are sold at auction, that perhaps don't come from the same type of home where you don't have somebody that is either has the same level of scrutiny of a car, or perhaps they're just not willing to go completely into depth with repairs and making sure that the car is correct. We're just heading out onto the highway here. Silky smooth. That was 4,500 RPM, and now we're doing well over the speed limit. Back into third gear. So he's owned it since 2016. As I said, he's gone completely through the car tip to tip and made sure that everything is great. The car, when he bought it, and you'll probably see in the original auction, that the stereo was an aftermarket unit. The car came from Japan back in 2016 or before 2016, and it had an aftermarket head unit. He researched and found an OEM radio. It's showing code on it now, but I believe we have everything that we need to make sure that that is functioning properly. All the gauge cluster, everything, all the digital control or digital displays are completely working and functional. There's no dead pixels. Everything is correct there. Current mileage is 81,505. A car similar to this probably just sold a little while ago. I rode through that auction a little bit. This car, I can't say anything in comparison, but I can say this car drives exquisitely. It's absolutely silky smooth, drives dead straight, has no shudders. Transmission feels extremely smooth. Steering wheel or the steering box, no strange play there. Interestingly enough, I mean, these cars, they only, I believe, made 503, and this is number 50, or 507, this is number 53. I wasn't aware that when Alpina did these, the modifications, this little knob here actually changes the amount of boost that the turbos produce, which is fairly interesting. I've never seen that on a car before. And I believe when these came out that this was the fastest sedan in the world, that's pretty cool. Everything works on the car, all windows, both front, go all the way down, and all of the rear. the upholstery is in extremely good condition. The rear looks like it's never been sat in. The front seats, I would say, exactly the same thing. The factory floor mats show a little bit of wear, but pretty amazing considering that they're from 1990. And those are custom or original Alpina mats. The leather on the steering wheel. I don't know if you've ever owned a car that has either a tear in the leather or a scuff in it, but there's no marks, nothing to annoy you anywhere around the steering wheel. No big marks on the center of the steering wheel. All the signal light switches, there's no excessive play, as older cars will get, that will communicate to you that you're driving an older used car that somebody else has enjoyed. All the switches are very firm and have no extra play. The climate control fans work very well. We had the heat pumping before we got in, and we're about to die. So the cooling works, fans work, the automatic climate works. What else? The computer's completely functional, and I'll show that a bit more in the walk around video when we do a walkthrough. But power seats, they work as they're supposed to. These seats are extremely comfortable. All the foam, all the electronics work in my seat. Passenger, backrest, all good. I will say about these seats, extremely supportive. I was just sitting in that seat a little while ago, and the driver's seat, all the bolsters seem extremely firm. They don't feel worn down at all. The backrest and the lumbar is very supportive, very stiff. These are great seats. This is a very cool car. Feels very planted on the road. It's I imagine there's not a lot of people out there that have had the opportunity to experience one of these cars, but it feels very planted, even through a merge lane or out here on the highway. From what I understand and from the knowledge that I know on these cars is that there's a 3.5 liter inline six, but when Alpina took the car and they did their number to it, similar to what they would do in the 70s, which we have a couple of those that we'll also be putting up for auction. And I'm sure some of you are going to have a lot more knowledge on this than I do, but I believe the cylinders had extra machining done to the cylinders, forged componentry on the interior of the motor, valves, and then of course the Garrett turbos. I think they're T25 turbos. All were fitted to the car by Alpina as part of the package that they did to the B10, as well as the gold graphics on the exterior of the car, the front air dam, the spoiler on the rear, the side skirts, and the rear bumper as well. The windshield is in extremely good condition. I'm looking through completely clear without any marks. I see maybe one small mark here in the windshield, but this car, we did drive it out to the airport for the photo shoot of our Gullwing, so there's probably some bug and road debris on the windshield. Headliner is in extremely good condition. Map lights, both working. Dome light working, no problem. Sunroof, very smooth, no weird noises, as some of these old sunroofs can get as they dry out and their mechanicals of them dry out and don't have lubrication anymore. Yeah, it's just a very, very cool car. I love the history of Alpina. Through some of the auctions you'll see coming up, we're doing more and more with BMW and learning more and more as we go. But what a very cool history, and what a very interesting company indeed. I think we're coming up to a light here. I'll see if we can't pull off and let some traffic go by, and then we can do some accelerations to finish off the video, and then we'll probably be getting pretty close to the shop. So we'll stop the video here, and then we'll get off the highway and we'll restart it once we have a little bit of Hey, we are back, and we're just gonna hit this merge lane here. So I've got the boost turned all the way up, which I think takes it up to about 11.3 or 11.7 psi. I'll let that car go ahead of us. Transmission in this car feels like it's a brand new transmission. It's I was just saying to Sage here that it feels like a brand new. My shifts at about 5,700 RPM. The boost, I would say, comes on and really starts pulling the car from 3,700 maybe up to 5,700. Pretty cool. It's you know, you're not, if you want to compare it to new cars, obviously new cars a lot more boost and everything else, but for something of this era, and then driving any of the naturally aspirated M3s and such, using the inline sixes, this is pretty cool. It's very comfortable on the highway, and yeah, what a very cool car to drive. It's I would think this is as close as, well, very close to driving one of these cars new as you can get. This is. It just feels very well sorted mechanically. There's nothing weird. The throttle response is fantastic. The transmission feels amazing. The brakes are very precise and have lots of power. Yeah, it's a fantastic car. All the other things in the interior, we'll go through the back. We'll go through the back of it, and we'll walk you through the interior of it more in depth in our walk around video. But just really wanted to get this out on the road, and there's an Aston Martin behind us, so foot into it. Boost is really pulling now, still pulling. Actually, that was really great. That was probably not a great spot to do that pull, but that was fantastic. Actually, there was that. I didn't look down to see how much PSI we had, but the car was really pulling well. That was third gear, and well over 100 kilometers an hour, which is our speed limit here. As far as buyers, this car will be listed for sale out of Blaine, Washington, on a Washington state title. So any USA buyers, there's no export duty, there's nothing weird about Canadian anything. You will receive the car on a Washington state title. All you need to do is click buy and plan on picking the car up in Blaine, Washington. If you would like us to handle your shipping, we certainly offer that to any of our buyers and our clients. We can get the car anywhere you would like it to be. We can give you white glove treatment. We can do it on a train and inexpensive, whatever you like. The shipper that we use and we prefer to use is Reliable Transport. In our opinion, they're the best in the business, and we use them exclusively for our own stuff. If you're a Canadian buyer, then we can provide the car on a British Columbia registration. And same thing, we can get the card anywhere you might need it in Canada. And for any buyers outside of Canada or the USA, we can sort you out there as well. We have freight forwarders that we use for overseas European deliveries, anywhere that the car needs to go. So have no apprehension there. We will be able to get the car to wherever you need to go. We do it regularly. We do it with a lot of different vehicles, anything from Camp Prize Mercedes 4x4 vans to cars like this. If you have any questions, please do reach out to us. Use the contact seller button in the auction, or find us any other way you like and get in touch. We like to engage with people, answer questions, and make sure that everybody has the information they need to be able to bid with confidence. We've been in business since 2001, and this is what we do exclusively, and I think we're pretty good at it. If anybody else has anything to add, please put in the comments below. And thank you for checking out this wonderful car, and we hope you enjoy the cars to come and the cars that we've done already. Thank you very much.